Hello, everybody, and welcome to WTS 251.
251.
My name is Danny Murray.
I'm Graham Merrigan. It's been 4 weeks, Danny.
It has. We're doing that a lot, aren't we? We're doing kind of like a run of 4 episodes, and we give ourselves a break. And I'm not upset about it. I'm okay with it. Like, we work hard, Graham.
Yeah, but the actual podcast industry in Ireland is saturated, so we're not getting any guests.
This is it. We've been at this a long time, and previously speaking, we'd be very fortunate. We'd be, we'd get in touch with somebody and be like, have a chat with us, and they'd be like, absolutely. But now, sure, everyone and their granny has a podcast, and as a result of that, guests are like, oh, I'm actually talking to such and such this week, and we're like, no worries. So now, lads, what we do is we pick and choose, and we're selective. Whereas beforehand we were a bit of a Gatling gun, and whereas now we're snipers, and we go for quality, not quantity.
Love it.
So stick with us. We're not as frequent as we once were, but I can tell you, you will always be entertained, and it's free, unlike other people who try to charge you. Anyway, Mero, it has been a few weeks, right? And since then, yourself and myself are a year older. Halloween has been and gone, and I started watching The Sopranos at long last.
And this is so exciting! I'm so excited when someone I know and love and care about starts watching The Sopranos. It's like it's like my baby, The Sopranos. It's like, oh my God, another person I love and adore is watching it. Like when my brother started watching it, I was so anxious that he was enjoying it and he thought it was the best ever. So, firstly, where are you?
I am, let's say, midway through season 2. As we are recording this, I'm midway through season 2.
I don't want you to give too much away, but I just want to ask a simple yes or no answer. Are you enjoying it?
Yes.
Simple yes or no answer. Are you loving it?
I would say I am. Yes.
Oh, this is absolute. That's all we'll say for now. I
will say.
I have seen your fiance's content on Insta story, and it would suggest that she is adoring it.
Yes, definitely. I would say I do have favorite characters already. I have characters who I hate. So
this is unbelievable.
All I will say, Graham, is I'm declaring this right now, and you won't get a choice in the matter. Halloween 2022. Me and you are Polly Walnuts and Polly's accomplice. That's all I'm saying. So.
Unreal. Do you know what, Danny? I've watched The Sopranos 5 times. I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were talking about the movie, and which I very much enjoyed. And he was like, I'm not sure, but he has watched The Sopranos so many times. I've watched it 5 times. The last time I finished it was January 2020. Pre-lockdown was the last time pre-COVID was the last time I watched it in its entirety. Yeah. And I adored it, but I think I'm ready. Once I'm on Succession at the moment, which is sensational television, once I finish Succession, I think I'm going to lob on James Gandolfini again.
Well, after you've binged all the Gogglebox Ireland that you didn't watch.
After I have that on my Skybox, yes.
I have that noted. Here you
are.
Mm-hmm. 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 Oh yeah, listen. All I'm saying
no
is
spoilers on Gogglebox. No, listen, the dogs involved in the end.
Listen, no spoilers. All I'm going to say to you, Graham, is as a friend and as somebody who loves you dearly and cares about you dearly and all that, I cleared my diary. I rejected offers from people to do things so I could watch Fair City live all those years ago. And here's you telling me, I Skyboxed that. It's not, look, it's fine. I'm not upset about it. It's just, it's noted, Graham.
Danny, it clashed with Married at First Sight Australia.
Sorry. It's noted. Thank you. So anyway, yeah, there you go. That's I'm sure we will definitely talk more about The Sopranos as we get through it, and we will do a full Sopranos episode with a Sopranos themed guest.
Imagine we got one of the former cast members on. Why don't we try that?
I'm telling you,
you've already tried
a Sopranos episode in full with a Sopranos themed guest. And I'm saying,
are you at the point with Sopranos now when you wake up and you're working, you kind of put on the kettle and you're pondering and you're kind of saying, I can't wait to watch an episode of Sopranos later?
Yeah. I'm planning my day around kind of getting to a point in the day where I have the ability to watch at least 2-3 episodes. You know, it's look, what I'll say is I'm loving every minute of it. I really am. I don't know. Obviously, there's still quite a way to go on the Sopranos journey. I don't know if it will go up to the best ever for me, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I'm delighted this time I didn't just stop watching after the first 3 episodes like my previous 4 or 5 attempts.
Unreal. I'm so happy.
So yeah, look, it is. And lads, tweet us if you're a Sopranos fan, if you're into that kind of crack. Tweet us either your favorite New Jersey Italian word, because there's so many of them that I love. I just love when they call people a wackadoo. I just crack up laughing at that. Or just your little favorite Sopranos GIF or GIF, depending on what part of the world you come from. So there you go. Yeah.
Deadly. I know I can't send you GIFs anymore about Sopranos. Not yet.
Yeah, no, be careful, lads. Be careful. Bear in mind, baby steps here. Please do not send me spoilers. All right.
Baby steps.
Come on now. Actually, I withdraw my request for Sopranos GIFs because somebody will send something and I'll be like, this is clearly going to. So don't do that. Actually, leave me. Let me enjoy this.
Danny, did you enjoy your time on Gogglebox?
Loved every fucking minute of it, Graham.
Really?
Absolutely loved it. Yeah.
That's good. And do you know if is there going to be a next series?
That is not for me to tell or decide.
Oh wow, it's one of those things. Will I speak to your agent? Is it?
Yeah, you will indeed. You'll have to speak to my agent. Okay. And thanks to Gary Mackle for taking care of all my representations. He's a great negotiator, and he's a man who I can call him day or night, and he says, "Danny, leave with me," and you know he looks after it. So you can deal with Gary, and I know you'll enjoy that.
Okay. Anyway, Danny, we've been missing for 4 weeks. Who are we speaking to this week?
Yeah, let's get straight into it. Delighted to say this week we are joined by the wonderful Jade Jordan. Now, Jade has a book out at the moment. It's available in Eason's, and you can get it online and all that as well. And it's called Nanny, Ma and Me. And it's currently nominated in the Irish Book Awards. Voting is open until Monday the 15th November, I think. So if you're listening to this weekend, before Monday the 15th, hop on over and give it a vote anyway. But you haven't got the book yet, lads. You're going to learn why you should read this. Jade, thanks a mil for joining us.
No problem. Thanks so much for having me, lads.
How you did the radio circuit there a couple of weeks back, and we were like, we have to get Jade on. She was deadly on. I think I heard you on Ray Darcy and.
Turbidity,
it would have been.
Sorry, Turbidity. Sorry, apologies, yeah. Turbidity. Yeah, that's where I would have heard you. And let's get Jade. Well, you've been too busy, Jade.
Oh, stop! I mean, I was sick of listening to myself. you know, when you do these things, I know you're going to laugh when I say this. I knew it was going to be exposing.
Yeah.
And I knew there was going to be a bit of press, but I didn't realize how much.
Mm.
And then, it's so mad. Once there was loads booked in the minute the book came out, you know, you have dates that you've booked in because you need to do a bit of press. But the minute I went on Ryan Turbidity, I straight away the publishers were with me and their phone just started going brrr, bing, 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 bing. I was just like, this is mental. I was like, this is mad. So it got really hectic, really hectic. I'd say for about 3.5 weeks. I was just leaving a place to another, to coming back, sitting in my living room and having conversations for the radio that way, because some people weren't back in their studio space or whatever. But it was mad. And then just acting work has started to come back in. I mean, it's been really tip wood, and I'm blessing myself as I say. I've been really lucky since 2020. It's been consistent, but that started coming in with shows being open and workshops. So yeah, it's been mental, to say the least, but all good.
Good complaint to have.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We'll get on to the book in a second, but just you touched on it there. So you're an actor, and with the pandemic and everything else, there, you said yourself you've been a little bit lucky. But how did that? Because we've heard some, we've talked to a couple of actors and that kind of thing who said it nearly wiped them out, and you know a lot of them had to get part-time gigs, and a lot of them had to think of other options. How did it affect you, Jade?
Absolutely, and I'd say so. It really, if as well, you've got to take into consideration if there's actors out there that have children. Do you know what I mean? And a family and a mortgage. I'm on my own. I've no kids or anything, you know, and I'm renting. So that was on my side. I suppose I'm lucky in that sense that, you know, there was bills to be paid. But I think from probably March, so what, the world closed down on the 12th of March, that Thursday, we all remember where we were. And I was teaching, I have my own drama classes, and I remember being in that day, and it was so weird. My phone on that Thursday, I teach 2 groups that day, 4 to 7 and 8 to 12. And my phone was hopping, going, are you in today? Is the class cancelled? And I obviously knew there was a thing, but I didn't really read into it or anything. So they arrived, and then the announcement was made, and it was like, right, kids, it was so weird. It was so emotional. It was like, right, these poor kids just looking at you, and parents and us couldn't give an answer, you know? The government weren't able to give us answers. So it was like, right, you'll see us in 2 weeks, you know? And then a year and a half has gone by. I only went back there last week for the first time.
Wow.
Just because I refused to go on to Zoom to teach me classes. You know, I'm, as much as I needed money, and we all need money, I just don't think kids should be taught that way. And it worked for some people, but for me, what I want to do with my kids, I didn't want to go that way, you know. But I'm jumping between here, sorry.
You're grand.
What did I do during the lockdown? So we'd mid-March until probably April, May was quiet. And then workshops started to come in. But I'd started writing, so that kind of kept me busy. My first attempt at writing, I was doing an application for the Actors Creator to get funded for a short film off Screen Ireland in Bow Street. So I suppose that kept me busy. And then I think the first thing in was a workshop online with Drew Theatre Company. But you know what was really funny? Just before the lockdown, I was meant to be doing 2 gigs, and they both got closed down. So I would have been fine. That would have brought me through for a while, you know.
Yeah.
So I suppose I just kept myself busy with writing. I mean, baiting the pavement out of it, going for a million walks. And yeah, I mean, I read a lot. I did a lot of research, and kind of gave myself a bit of a break for about a month and a half, like most people. I think we were all kind of enjoying just kind of getting up and showered and lounging.
Big time. I'm still enjoying it.
You know what I mean? So I kind of enjoyed it, but then, and I mean, I'm one of the lucky ones, and I'm so bloody grateful for that. I'm really privileged for that I didn't really have much time to sit on my backside. I mean, I was sitting in my living room doing these workshops and stuff, but I was kept going. And as I said, I'm thankful for that, because I don't know how I would have coped otherwise. I was just after moving into a new house with a random person that I didn't know. So, you know, I was like, God, that was tough as well. So I was lucky that I was able to keep my head clean.
Definitely, yeah. And then in the midst of all this, you'd kind of already started the idea for the book, had you?
I did. Well, do you know what? It was an idea I had in 2016, just a struggling actor. Being like, what am I going to do? I need something to help me create my own work or put myself out there. But I guess I never had the courage to do it. A family story was always something I wanted to tell, but I didn't know how to write or do any of that. But a friend said to me, look, crack on with that story. You've always wanted to do it. And I thought, Jesus, right, this is the kick up the backside that I needed. So that was like 2016, came home and started recording my nanny just on a tripod. Didn't know what I was going to do with this material, just to pick her brains and ask her questions and kind of see where it led. So that happened at Christmas, did it at Easter, did it at birthdays or whenever I came home. And like anything, you park things on the shelf. And it was never an idea for a book. It was either an idea for a feature. It was actually an idea for a feature film, or maybe start off with a short film or whatever. And then lockdown happened. An application came in, as I said, for the Actors Creator. And I thought, I was writing at the time, I'll pick out a story that really I think needs to be told. It was a story within my family, and I thought basically the Actor Creator was you had to place yourself as the writer, and you had to act in it. You had to be the star and role in it. So I thought I suppose, write what you know, I guess. Why not talk about something I was learning about or something that had happened within my family? So I did that application, sent that off. That was grand. And then obviously the killing of George Floyd happened, and I was just bleeding, smashed around the head. I missed everything that I was doing writing wise, you know, and I just felt really annoyed, hurt, angry. all of the emotions. So obviously it was everywhere on social media, the news. You couldn't kind of get away from it. Not that we wanted to get away from it. I think we needed to see all this, but you couldn't get away from it really, could you? You know, it was every time you picked up the phone, it was everywhere. And I remember ringing me ma and saying, here, look, are you feeling how I'm feeling? And do you feel really smashed around the head about this? And she was like, yeah, wow. And I was like, I feel like we talk about racism all the time, but we never talk about what happens here at home. So I kind of jumped on social media and put up a video of how I was feeling. I kind of said, I'm talking to my family at the moment, and this killing has happened, and it's really blown my mind, and I feel really affected by it. But I just want to let people know out there that, you know, racism is a thing here in Ireland. Popped it up on social media, didn't really do it for a reaction, just did it to make people aware that it is a thing and people go through it daily. And with that, the response was mad. So I thought, look, people are interested in this. They want to know more.
Mad in a good way, Jade, or?
Yeah, in an absolute really good way. In a sense that people were like, Jesus Christ, I had no idea that you, even as you as a human, I went to school with you, never went through, like, I didn't see it like that, or I didn't know that it affected you, or didn't know that your family had a hard life, and just never thought about it. Do you know? And I think I always come back to that like, maybe people don't see it if they're not around it, if they're not around a person of colour. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So they don't experience it, so therefore they don't think it happens. Like me as a wheelchair user, like I experience a lot of shit.
Yeah,
and when you're telling people the reaction that you said that you got for that video, it's the reaction I would get. Did that really happen? You were like, I've been called a hazard in nightclubs, like, by the management. Do you know what I mean? Because of the chair. Like, the chair's fucking tiny. It's about 20 kilos. Like, do you know what I mean? So when you go back and tell people that, they're like, what? Are you serious? Is that the reaction you were getting?
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I don't judge people for that. I really don't. Some people, it's not all people. Some people, it's out of pure ignorance. They choose not to hear it because, you know, it's not affecting me. So why would I worry, type thing. But no, a lot of people just aren't around people. So how would they know? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a strong believer of that. I am a strong believer of people just maybe aren't aware. Like, I know I had so many people touching in going, Jesus Christ, Jade, I had no idea. I didn't see it as any different to me. Do you know? Yeah. So, like, I kind of came away and I was like, Jesus, people kind of want to know more. And I said to me, Ma, look, would you kind of work with me on like a series of videos, and I'll ask you questions, and we'll do it that way. We'll pop them up and let people hear your side. I mean, her experience was a lot more serious than mine, you know. I was born in the 80s. She was born in the 60s. That's a gap where time had changed, you know. So I would never have had it as bad as me ma. And she says, yeah, cool. She says, whatever you do, I am not doing a video. I don't want my face anywhere. So I was like, absolutely cool. No problem.
Ma as well.
That's it. So I did an audios with her and popped them up, just asking her questions on, like, just what was it like growing up? What was school like? How did you find it? Where do you feel we are now in the world? Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? And I did about a week of a series of 4 videos, 4 or 5. And, well, Jesus, blew my mind. People were just really interested. You know, not just in my story, just really interested that it's happening on this little island.
What a great idea, though. Do you know what I mean? That is just a brilliant idea. Even to collect those audio kind of presentations of your mum and asking those questions and letting the public, letting your followers on social media hear the experiences of the 60s. And then, you know, I just think that's excellent. That's just brilliant. Like,
yeah, well, you know, and it wasn't for a case of, oh, boo me or feel sorry. It was just a case that I wanted to try and be a part of the protest that was happening in the world.
Yeah, you're trying to say, because there was people, cynics during the George Floyd thing. Oh, well, he did this and he didn't fucking deserve to die. So
you say cynics, I think most will say arseholes.
Racists.
The George Floyd thing, and I'm conscious I'm probably the most privileged person on this call in terms of I don't have a disability, and I don't have a diverse background and all that kind of stuff. But with the George Floyd thing,
Yeah, you absolute able-bodied pleb.
no, I mean,
you white able-bodied pleb.
Been through life, huh?
White privilege.
it stopped us all in our tracks in a way. Like, and I think even now the fact that like we're talking about it, all this time has passed. You know, I even remember last year we had the great photographer Mel D. Cole on the podcast, and he was talking about, you know, going and documenting the protests and everything else, and just some of the reactions he described to us. But like, it's crazy to me that this ripple effect has carried through, and I mean crazy in a good sense, because I'm struggling to think, what's that saying? Do the best you can until you know better, and when you know better, do better.
You nailed it. Yeah,
and I think the George Floyd situation acted as a catalyst for a lot of people who previously, you know, wouldn't really, and like you were saying, they kind of pleaded a little bit of ignorance, or they kind of thought, Jesus, Jade, I'd no idea, I never would have thought of that or whatever.
Yeah.
Now eyes are wide open and people are starting to go, wait a fucking minute, we need to check ourselves here, lads.
Absolutely. And you know, it's sad that somebody had to lose their life, but it was a shift we all need. It's terrible to say that, and I don't mean it like that. You know, I don't mean use. I suppose it is an example. Well, I don't want to say it's an example. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
We needed an incident, not as severe as that, but for us all to just go, bing, wow, fuck.
Yeah, and that's it. It's crazy because, like, George Floyd was not the first person to die in circumstances
you know
like
what
that.
It was, I think, sorry to cut across you, Danny. Do you know what I think had a part in it was, I think we would have just flew over that if the world wasn't still. Remember, we were all still, we were all in lockdown, life was in limbo, we all had time to sit, digest it, watch it, listen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We all had to fucking live that experience, whether the fuck we liked it or not, because we were all in full lockdown. 5K shit, I think it was, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it was such an interesting time for the world because the world was stopped.
It's a great point. It's a great point.
Do you know what I mean? Would we have just hopped over that? It was never severe as that, you know, there was gunshots and killings before, but that was so violent. I know they were all violent. You know,
I think the fact that it was the video and the words "I can't breathe."
He pleaded for his fucking help.
Yeah.
You know,
I think the fact that we had those pictures to back up our anger.
And hear him.
Yeah.
Hear a human being.
Yeah.
Fucking call him for his ma.
Yeah.
What did your mom think about that, Jade?
Oh, my ma was just we were all knocked around the head, and that's just not black and brown people. It was all of us. I think affected a lot of people. Yeah. Whether your colour of your skin. Do you know?
And you know, just going back to, you know, when you said there that some people's reactions, and they're probably friends and stuff, and people you were in school that were saying, geez, I had no idea, or you never said, or like what was school like, for example? Like, what was growing up like in school in the early 90s like? Was it nice, or was it,
you know,
bad?
there was parts and part, like there was parts kind of shit, parts okay. Do you know what I mean? I think we all have it in school. That's really fucking hard time. You're finding yourself, you're discovering things, you're a teenager, your body's changing, your hair, like loads of stuff. But like, so I was born in 88, so I went to school early 90s. There was only me in my school who looked like me. There was another girl who was mixed race as well, but you wouldn't really have known she was mixed race. She was a lot paler. And then there was a French girl that came in maybe in second class, third class. But I was the only person that looked how I looked in primary school. Primary was kind of grand because you're a kid. Kids don't really have opinions on you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was kind of like I had an experience which I talk about in the book where we used to have a mobile home down in Bettystown, and that was one of the most horrific experiences in my life, where somebody said I was dirty, my skin was dirty, and that had an effect on me, and has affected me throughout my adulthood, because I've fucking weird shit with cleaning, and I carry wipes around me. I'm really pristine. I fucking used to have no skin on my hand from washing myself so much. So shit like that sticks with you. And I was about 10 when that happened.
That's like a PTSD, like.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah. Now I've got better over the years because I've worked on myself and I've done a bit of therapy and stuff. But it 100% it comes down to that. I know we can all have touch of like habits and stuff, but I was fully convinced that I was dirty because my skin colour wasn't like his. Like I went in and tried to wash myself. I was 10, tried to wash myself white, like, you know, so things like that. There was things said, I always got called a packy or a nigger. But my ma always kind of told me, like, my ma brought me up on her own and did a really great job with me and my sister. But I think we're doing all right, I think. But, you know, stand up for yourself. And I've always been well able to stand up for myself. I take after my ma in that sense. So if somebody said something, you know, I'd let them have it. But at 10, you don't know any different. You know, I had words with your man, but, you know, you don't know any different. You begin to believe that you are different from other kids. Secondary school, people are commenting your hair or whatever. But like that, I was always well able, do you know what I mean? I never had it as bad as my ma had it. Do you know what I mean? But you still, it happened to me last Christmas in town. Somebody called me a nigger. Do you know, it happens.
Jesus Christ. Like, it's...
Yeah.
I think I heard you telling that story when you were on with Ryan Tubridy, and I think you summed it up by saying that fella could have called you anything. He could have come to anything, but the fact that was his instantaneous go-to, it says a lot about the person involved. But I think it also does shine that little light on that dark spot of Ireland that we don't want to look into that cupboard. You know what I mean? We keep that cupboard closed at times because everyone wants to, Ireland, there's a bit of crack in it. People are just having a laugh, aren't we? That kind of thing. But every so often, you know, something comes along and we all have to go, let's just fucking take a knee here and talk about this, can we? You know?
Absolutely. Well, we do it. We've, like, Irish people have a history of pushing stuff under the carpet.
Yeah.
And then when it comes out, we're all annoyed and hurt and angry. And do you know what I mean? Like, gone are the days, I think, that we fucking stop doing shit like that.
Yeah.
I think that's what gave me the kick up the arse to tell me story, was the response that people actually wanted to hear what's going on. Do you know what I mean? That was what gave me the initial kick, I guess, to actually go, I didn't want to talk about race for years.
Yeah.
I really didn't. Who wants to talk about a topic that, you know, is so, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying?
Was it hard for you to talk about it? And it, like you mentioned talking to it about with your mom and kind of getting your nanny's experience and all that as well. Like, but for you, when you initially kind of went with this idea, was it hard for you even to talk to your mom about it? Was it hard for you to kind of start putting this on paper? Like,
oh my God, absolutely. She's talking about, like, a white woman from Marino marrying a black man in the 50s. Do you know what I mean? Like, sorry, met him in the 50s, married him in the 60s. Like, black and white didn't go in those days. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, in my day and age, in our day and age, in our generation, Jesus, you love who you love, you fall in love with who you fall in love with. Where colour was an issue, like schooling was an issue because of how you look. Like, that is, for me, is just like, imagine not being able to get an education because of how you look.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
Which was the case for me nanny having to take her 2 sons out of school because of it. Do you know, like, that's of course, it was really hard. It was really hard to write stuff. Just things being said, looks being, do you know, things that they had to go through more so than me. I suppose I was just giving me mum, me nanny, a voice that they never probably had before and never had the opportunity to do it.
Was there nothing that shocked you that your ma, your nanny told you about? Was there anything that maybe you hadn't heard before that you went, Jesus Christ, I don't believe that actually happened? Like, yeah,
a lot of it. Like, I kind of knew little bits because I'm the little detective in the family where I've always asked. Yeah, literally since the day my ma said she'd be going around in the pram and me head would be around the side of the pram. Like, I just know, I don't even think it's nosy. It's just the way I am. I wouldn't be butting into people's private business or at. And I mean, I want to learn. I mean, that's my history. When my nanny goes, when my ma goes, what are we left with?
Yeah.
Do you know, I think. And do you know what's really interesting? It's kind of given a lot of other people a kick up the arse to go and ask questions at home to their families, which is like so amazing. Like, I'm like, oh God, did I give you that kick up the bum? Do you know what I mean? Like, because it's a lovely way to remember people also when they're gone, is to have footage of you just chatting.
Yeah.
Do you know? But there was a lot in there that I learned, and there was a lot that we haven't put in the book because it's too hurtful, or it's too close, or it's too, do you know what I mean? Maybe me ma will do something in the future. I think she really should. I think she's great. I think core part of the book is really, really powerful. Like, she's really honest.
Yeah.
Me nanny's honest as well, but me nanny's 89, and there's a lot, as she says, she doesn't remember when she does. Do you know, that's just that generational thing as well.
Is that a little bit of like your granny also trying to still be that kind of matriarch, like protecting a little bit, by kind of hiding stuff? Not hiding's probably not the right word, but you know what I mean. Just protection, kind of.
Yeah. Didn't hear a thing, didn't see a thing. You know, in the most craziest of times where there was signs with no blacks, no, you know what I mean, no Irish. Like, there's no way. There's no way you could sail through life in London and not see that. Yeah. You know, the Windrush generation where the men from Jamaica and stuff were moving over.
Yeah.
You know, and that was huge in the UK. You know, there was murder over that. You know, black people coming over and taking our jobs, and there was so much going on that there's no way you couldn't have not seen. Do you know what I mean? But my nanny's terrible soft. And she sees the good in everybody. And, you know, it's kind of probably a great place to live, but it's kind of, generations are moving on now, and I think it's important that we don't live like that. If, you know, we call it out when we see it, and do you know what I mean? And like, this island, so much trauma in all of us. Goes back generational, ancestors, do you know what I mean? From years of hiding shit.
The church.
Do you know, like, so much shit.
Yeah.
But given homes, like, so much stuff that, like, we're going to have to, my generation, the next, the one after, are going to have to heal all those things, I think.
Given the content of the book, did you, like, it is kind of deep and meaningful, it's hurtful, it's all those type of emotions. Did you enjoy the process?
I did and I didn't. I'm not going to lie. Like, it wasn't easy. Like, it was hard. It was really, really hard, actually. And there was points where we sat there and laughed, and then there was points where we sat there and cried. There was points where we sat there and went, oh my God, can't do this. There was points where I said, what the fuck have I done? I've opened a can of worms here, and I kind of don't know how to close it. Do I do it? Do I want to do it? Oh my God, it's so exposing. All of these things, like. And then when the book came out, it launched, all I wanted to do was just run away.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
You didn't want to talk about it?
No.
It's out and that's it.
But I couldn't. I had 3 weeks of solid interviews and places where to be and people to talk to, and I fucking struggled though. I think I did all right with it, but I was like really numb.
You've done amazing, Jade, to be honest with you. Like, I've heard a few of the interviews you've done. You've been absolutely fucking brilliant.
I was numb, I'm not going to lie. I was really numb and in pain and exposed, and have I done the right thing? I had so many things in my head. Do you know what I mean? And it's such a, somebody said to me, it's like giving birth. And I was like, okay, I've never done that, so I don't know. It is like giving birth. I've given birth to a book. Like, I've lived that for a year. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't easy, but there was points where it was really great and it was really lovely. But there was points where you're like, do people want to hear my part of the story? What's interesting about me? There was just so many points where it felt like
a bit of an insecurity, like, of how the reaction was going to be.
No, not at all. Well, I kind of just thought, do people want to hear my family story? Like, who am I to tell this story? Do you know what I mean? Who am I to tell a story to the world? Excuse me, sorry, imposter syndrome as well. I have that's a big thing I have. And I just wanted to protect me mum, me nanny, and me family.
Yeah.
And you've got to be ready. I didn't speak bad about anyone in the book, but it's obvious there was things there with family and stuff, but I never mentioned any names. I never said, but I had to be ready for all of that. I had to be ready for what are they called on social media, trolls. I had to be ready for positive, negative. I had to be ready to be pulled in all those a million directions. And it was so overwhelming. Like, so overwhelming. When I speak and when I do press for shows and film, I speak about other people, the other character, or my actors that I work with, not about me. So that was overwhelming. And it's been a massive learning curve as well for me as a human. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it was, I'm so proud of it. But I kind of had to, at the same time, do a lot of work on myself last year with meditation and just working with a life coach and different things like that to be ready for it when it came. Do you know what I mean? Maybe if I hadn't done work on myself last year, maybe because I was so numb in the feeling, maybe I wouldn't be able to speak about this now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like you said, in hindsight now, you might only enjoy what your project and what you've done maybe 3 or 4 years later, where you're kind of going, Jesus, I done that.
Yeah.
I done that, like, and then you never know, you could develop it into a short film or a feature film as well, like.
Well, question mark, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but why can't you?
Yeah, no, I'm back writing now, so the short is done. So the next thing it'd be something bigger, which is really, really fucking
exciting. Short is done, is it?
Yeah, I did a short for the Actors Creator last year, yeah.
So is the short out? Can we watch it, like?
It's in Cork tomorrow.
And Jesus!
It's in London Film Festival. I'll email it over to you. It's in London Film Festival. Yeah. London Film Festival next week. It was in Belfast last week. So yeah, it's done the rounds. It premiered last year in Galway, yeah.
Unreal.
So, yeah. So that was like the first process. So yeah, it's like people want to know more, I think. So there's a possibility that, I can't really say too much, but
yeah, fair, yeah.
So yeah, it's really great. It is. And I think you're right, Graham. I think you nailed it on the head. I think I'll probably be digesting this for about at least another 2 years.
Absolutely, because it's such a poignant topic, and I just think it's a lovely project, and even given the content, which is can be quite traumatic. Mm-hmm. I think, like, because me and Danny do the podcast, my grandfather passed away last May, but I remember about, like, he was given the news 6 months prior that, look, we can't do anything. But I remember a year before that, like, he had cancer for 5 years. But I remember asking him so many times, Granda, can I record me and you talking, like? And he just wouldn't do it, like. And it's not. I don't know if I would be able to listen to that now if he gave me the green light to, because I just felt like I was spending so much time with him in his house and beside him on the sofa, and we were having good chats. I was like, oh, Granda, let me record this. Like, and I didn't want to bring up the language of, you're not going to be around for much longer, and I want to have audio of you. I didn't want to bring up that negative language around him. So I would just ask him casually, and he was just very shy, man. But he was a great talker as well. So I think what you've done is brilliant, given the content, and it'll give awareness. But I don't see why what you've done anybody can't do, like with their grandparents or with their mother from a certain generation. Like, I mean, I've asked my other grandfather as well, and he's just not interested whatsoever. Like, so I think what you've done is brilliant, and I think anyone who has a closeness to their grandparents or even parents, I think they should contemplate something like this. Even 5-10 minutes of questions of what was I growing up, or they're just those things. And I don't think if I did something like that, I don't think I'd appreciate it until 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road, where it's like, "Jeez, remember I recorded that with me granddad? Let's have
Yeah,
a listen." Do
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Like
So it's a great
it's
project.
easily done. Do you know what I mean? Like, and like that, my nanny's terrible child. I don't even know how or why she let me do it. Do you know that way? Looking back
Yeah.
now, the process started in
Well, there
2006.
was conditions. She gave you conditions.
I thought, yeah, I can't even remember. It was just a case we set up and had a chat, and then during the lockdown, it went to us being in a room and doing it that way by
Mm.
ear and Zoom, and so I'd say, yeah, it's just I haven't like I probably won't be able to listen to them recordings for ages, you know. But that gave me a thing to then. So we speak about Nanny being in St. Pat's when she was younger, and I ended up writing to St. Pat's and getting all her files as well for her.
No way.
Yeah, they were like, no, originally, and then I was like, here, like, I wouldn't know under Act 70 something or 1600 or whatever. So I got in touch with somebody, and they were like, under Act Human Rights, whatever, drop that line in, and they sent them to me.
Wow.
Which is written. Now, I haven't been able to, I didn't want to put them in the book. We spoke about it, and it's just too personal. You know, you need to leave something for the framework of the readers or audience or whatever. But yeah, I think there's like 89 pages. They're all handwritten because this is, when was Nanny born? 1932. So these are late 40s, early 50s.
Wow.
So it's handwriting as opposed to typing and stuff. So it's hard to follow, and it's a hard read. So I'd say since last November when I got them, I've only been able to read about 10 pages because it's a fucking hard read. Like,
I'd say so.
I didn't realise how ill she was, and she didn't realise how ill she was.
Mm.
Because I suppose that's a coping mechanism. You come out with something and you get on with life. Yeah, again, that comes back to an Irish thing. You just get on with it.
It's mad to think, and kind of you both said, but it's mad to think how many stories are out there, but they're trapped in people's heads, kind of thing. And kind of like what you were saying earlier, Jade, about like the George Floyd thing and not wanting to say, like, you know, it was a death that caused something to happen, but like there's that piece of me that's kind of like, we are getting to a certain point with a generation where, you know, there's not much of them left, and there's stories there and there's experiences there from Ireland that we're going to lose that kind of primary source material, so to speak. We're going to lose that first-hand account, and yeah, I really.
Characters. There are characters. They're the people who make this land. Is our grandparents and great grandparents.
Exactly, yeah. And
what they fought for. Look at the work they did. You know, and Ireland's changing. Like getting rid of that arch and talk about getting rid of this hotel's gone. We're losing its character.
Stop.
You know, like, and that's Jesus. That's so hard. But we're a nation that are famous for telling stories.
That's something even there. Like, I mean, in the book where it talks about kind of when your family moved back from the UK, and they go to a B&B on Dorset Street, I think it was, or Gardner Street, was it?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, even that bit in 10, 15 years, you know, Dorset Street, Gardner Street, that entire part of town down the quays, it isn't what it was, and people won't remember what the Dublin of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even 90s looked like. It's, you know, it's changing, and it's for the worse in many ways, physically.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, character-wise, I mean, diversity, great, we're changing, and that shift, restaurants, food, culture, character of the city itself, I think, is absolutely heartbreaking.
That's it. Like, there's so many cities around the world that retain that character. But I mean, look, give me all the international cuisine you want, but you don't need to build, you know, 400 4-star hotels to have international restaurants. They can set up shop in good, solid buildings that are there and that retain that character. You know, it's mad what's happening.
It is. It's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. But I wanted to get that in. That's what I wanted in my book, was the sense of belonging to a community. Community in my eyes is massive. I think it's probably the most important thing.
Yeah.
You know, they are your family, your friends, your neighbours. And community makes you who you are. You know, I was just always told, never the fuck forget where you come from.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? And I remember I talk about it in the book, like a family friend. He was like me granddad nearly. Passed away, and coming home from the funeral, and it just, I knew what community I was from, you know, the area I was from. I knew how special we were. But it just blew my mind. Going through pain of loss, just for a community to come together and grieve together, but laugh together and celebrate. And I think community is just...
Jay, did you watch that documentary with the elderly man and the man that they got married just for the purpose of the house? And the man was from the Liberties. It was on RTA. It's right up your street. It's absolutely fantastic. I'll Google it later and see if you can remember that. Yeah, of course. I'll message you. But it's everything what you're saying there about the heart of the community. Like the neighbours would knock in, see how he is. This man, I'd say he was in his 80s. And I can't remember now how he became friends with this other man. But the other man, I think, was in like maybe his late 50s. And they became really good friends. And your man became his carer. And like they'd share a bed. They'd be watching the telly and stuff like that. And they got married because the elderly gentleman wanted to avoid the loopholes of inheritance for his house because he wanted to give it to this man. And the only reason how he could give it to this man who'd been helping him and caring for him was if they were to get married. RTE did it. I'm pretty sure it was on just...
That's a film.
Yeah, it is a...
It should be a film. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a documentary. It's.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was the Liberties. It's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, the community is, even where you are from, lads, it's just special. Sometimes the village mentality wrecks your head because everyone knows your business before you know your business.
Yeah,
but at the same time, you wouldn't change it.
No.
It's,
you know what I mean? And I wanted that about Sean McDermott Street when they lived in the tenements, because even my little cousins wouldn't know what the tenements are now.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, I feel like, God, this is going to sound daft. Do we even learn much about it in school?
No, we don't.
No, well,
I learned about the tenements after I left school.
I was going to say, the only bit... Sorry, go on, Jade. Go on.
I don't think we do in school, do we?
No, we don't. Not the tenements.
We all would have went through school at the similar time, and my only memory of learning anything to do with the tenements would have been when we were doing Sean O'Casey in the Leaving Cert, and I think we done Juno and the Paycock.
Juno and the Paycock, yeah.
And because that was based in the tenements, our teacher explained what the tenements were, but there was never anything. I think that the history curriculum in Ireland, I think there's a lot of social history that needs to be brought into it in terms of...
100%. Agreed, 100%. Like, how are you going to keep it alive if it's not being told?
Yeah. But every transition year should get Donald Fallon in, social historian, and he can give talks on absolutely anything.
Yeah,
do you listen to the Three Castles Born podcast, Jade?
I don't, but I will.
It's just, he's friend of ours. We've had him on loads of times on the show. He has his own podcast. We urged him for years to have a podcast because his voice is just so... It's easy to listen to, and he does podcasts on the history of Dublin, Three Castles Born, and it is about, like, he's a social historian, so he's trying to keep the stories alive. And I just think, if, like, I know he's a Dublin centric historian, but like he would keep all those stuff alive, like, you know, like he's after actually getting a job now with the Tenements Museum, 14 Henrietta Street, I think it's called.
I was only there last year for research. Have you been? It's really, really great to go and see it, actually. I really enjoyed the tour.
Was that research for a film or something? Or?
It's going to be short. Yeah, well, I didn't know. Basically, the funding was quite small. It was only $2,500 from Screen Ireland and Bow Street. But it was my first application. I was like, $2,500, loads, but I can rent this space. I can do that. Shut up, you can't do any of that. So originally I wanted to set it in the tenements, and then because I wanted to set it, but I ended up setting it in present day. But I went just for research. I just went in on my own and kind of took notes because I'd never experienced being in a tenement. And as much as your ma can tell you, you can't you know, like how high the
Mad, yeah.
ceilings are, or the spaces that they lived in, and you can't picture it. And like the staircase, you know, this wide staircase, but you can't picture any of that unless you really go and get a sense of it yourself.
Absolutely. When you're in the room and you're kind of going, Jesus, 20 people lived in this one room.
Exactly. And all the history, and it's bonkers. But saying that, like, a few people have touched in to me about going in and doing talks and skills.
Absolutely.
So I have a few coming up, and one in a workplace as well.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, which is great. To just get people asking questions, I guess. But like that, I think personally, the education system can be so much better than it is. Like, I mean, there's shite on that curriculum that we don't need to know.
Oh, stop the lights.
Like, we're not told how to pay a bill, how to look after your mental health. That should be a part of our day-to-day living and being, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Like, there's so much in our schools that I feel is incorrect. But I mean, that's just me. But having real life humans going in and talking to people will take it in more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Section 1, A, B, you know what I mean? You've lost me.
Yeah,
Like,
you've lost. I don't want to know about algebra. I have never used algebra since I left school.
Well, there's a lot of people in school that are not academic.
No, that's it. That's I can't.
I was in school for the crack. That's it.
So was I, absolutely. And most of the time when I was in school. Majority of the time I was on the Mitch sitting in the woods because I was not arsed.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it was probably an internet meme or something. That's where most the clever stuff that I get in my head comes from these days. But
I'm with you. I'm the same.
Yeah, but somebody made the point around because you were saying not everyone is academic, not everyone can, like, there's kinetic learning, all this different kind of thing. But somebody put it, and they were like, "Listen, you put me in the water, and a shark will beat me 100 times out of 100. Put me in that shark on land, I'll beat him." You know, and it's true. Like, you know what I mean. You won't see any sharks winning a triathlon because they're only good in the water.
There you go. That absolutely smashed it. Couldn't have said it better myself. But it is like streetwise. Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
Like,
Jade, I want to bring up your acting projects.
Oh yeah.
Or your acting.
It was a quick shift, Merlo. That was a quick shift.
Yeah, your acting resume, so to speak.
Yeah.
Go on, give us a few of what you've been in.
Oh God, it's a tough.
Or will I do it?
And this is a question, right? You're talking about this. I'm doing a course at the moment.
You don't like talking about yourself, do you?
Drama? No, I fucking hate it. Went to drama school and trained, and every job has it. Like, we're just picking up on that, which is funny. Somebody will ask you what you do, right? And you go, "Oh, for years I was never able to say an actor because even though I did it, I felt like I wasn't doing it full time, so I didn't own that word."
Yeah.
Now I kind of, in the last 2 years, I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm an actor.
Well, I bet you now with people listening to this, and when you say what you've been in, they'll be like, "Oh yeah."
Well, I don't know. Maybe they won't. Maybe they won't. But
look, there's that imposter syndrome coming back.
Stop! Look, I'm picking my hands. This is what happens. Everything. Look, you want the ground to eat me. But yeah, it's like, oh yeah. So going back to the actor thing is like somebody say, "What are you?" And you go, "An actor," and they go, "What have I seen you in?" And you're like, "For fuck's sake!" Well, I'm actually like writing at the moment. I've got this going on. It's just really funny. Do you know what I mean? It'd be like a builder. How many bricks did you lay today? Or where can I see your brickwork? Do you know what I mean? So when you think about it like that, do you know what I mean?
I feel like a fucking doubt.
No. I'm not saying that to you, Graham. I'm just saying because the question has come up in the course and we've been falling around the place laughing at it all week, you know?
Yeah.
You know what the worst part of that is? I know a fella who was involved in the Aviva Stadium being built, and I can't fucking mention the Aviva without him going, "See that West Stand? That was me."
That's such an Irish thing as well, though, isn't it?
West Stand.
We were at a match, and one of the kind of the beam thing that's part of the he'd constantly just nudge you and be like, "Me." That one, me.
Play to him. Fair play to him. His proudest thing. Fair play. But it's tough. Like it's a tough gig. It's just acting. Every gig is tough, but acting's just fucking tough. Like in the sense that one role you could be up against 50 people. You know, and people would say to you, "Why don't you be on Coronation Street?" like palette doesn't work like that, you know. You've got this database that's called Spotlight. All our stuff is on that. Show reels, voice reels, photos, whatever. All the stuff we've done, film, TV, whatever. Cast director pops up looking for somebody with blonde hair, blue eyes, 4'11", Irish accent, da for this role, and people can sub you that way. But you might not necessarily even get called in by the casting director.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you're lucky if you even get called in, and then you audition. Not really in the room anymore. It's a self-tape. We're doing them at home now. And if you hear back, you hear. If you don't, you don't. You're like, so get it out of your head within a week for your own sanity.
Yeah. Were you in Doctors?
I was in Doctors years ago.
Yeah.
I was in an episode.
I used to love that.
It was on mental health, actually. That was kind of like, I finished drama school in 2013, but I trained in musical theatre. And realised after training musical theatre, I didn't want to do that anymore.
Oh, no way, really?
Oh my God. I didn't, like, first audition out was very overwhelming, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm not able for this. So
I was hoping you were going to break into something from The Greatest Showman or something there for a second.
I thought you were going to break into Wicked or something.
Yeah, could you see I set the birds off behind me? But I left, and I was like, oh my God, that's not for me. So I went and kind of tried to get myself some short films, a bit of acting experience. I was getting a bit of profit share, getting a bit of short films, doing a bit of musicals on the side, but not working 3 jobs to be an actor, you know, and not making any money. Then 2016 rocks up, and I was like, here, I started recording my Nanny. That was the year I started. It was kind of when I started to make sense of things. And Bow Street did a 6-month part-time course. So I thought, I'm away from London bleeding 8 years now. I don't know what the crack is at home. Don't know any casting directors. Don't know any actors. So I basically flew home every week and did the course, 6-month part-time course. So I used to fly home on a Sunday, do the course Monday, Tuesday, and fly back to London on the Wednesday. Work, and did that for the 6 months. But it was great. Oh. It was like me foot in. It killed me. I ended up in hospital due to like exhaustion. I was wrecked.
I was
working full time as well. But anything for the arts. Oh, I tell you. Do you know what I mean? Anything for the arts. So that was kind of the foot in the door that I wanted. I kind of did a bit of mingling, networking, whatever you want to call it. And then auditions started to come in. And then Rosie came in. And then...
What a film.
I know. And then I got a really, really blink and you miss me in The Virtues. But I was like on set with Shay Meadows. I was like, this is amazing. I kind of want to do
this The Virtues for my life. Sensational.
I want to do this for my life. I mean, take us up your water. You would miss me, lads. But it was like a masterclass in acting being on that set that day. And that what was kind of gave me the kick up the arse to go, right, I actually really want to do this. The feeling of this is just mega. So with that, my luck started to align. I got the Abbey straight after. Was working on a show for 3 months. And then, yeah, I mean, I hate talking about myself, but there's loads of little exciting things coming out, and there's loads of really cool things that I'm going to honour to be a part of.
Part of Kin as well, aren't you?
Kin, I was. Got a new series coming out now. It hasn't been announced. I can't mention it. That one. Yeah. It's really exciting. I mean, it's so exciting to have things that you're working on. Do you know what I mean? And to have things to come out because you kind of forget about them.
Do you watch what you're in?
Oh, it's really hard, isn't it? So, oh God, that's really hard. Like my own short film, because it was my writing, it was me. Like, I haven't been lucky enough, you know, things that I have coming up, there's great supporting roles there. But I haven't bagged the lead yet, which I will. I've fucking no doubt in my mind. I will work till I get what I deserve, actually, because I'm grafting my whole off so long. But watching my own short where I was leading it, me writing it, blah blah blah, that was painful because I set in on the edit, which you would never normally do. You know, we don't see anything till it comes out, so we don't know, like, if we've been cut. We don't know if you see the side of your head. We know nothing. Do you know what I mean? And that sometimes happens as an actor. You could be cut out of the whole thing.
Yeah.
I have a really amazing supporting role. Go to turn on your telly and you're like, where the fuck am I?
Happened to Merrill with Fair City.
Shut up, Danny. I knew you were going to say something about me there.
He,
You know,
he was in Fair City a lot, but
were you?
he should have been in it more. But there was an incident that, for legal reasons, we can't get into, and he was excluded from future episodes.
No, there wasn't. I returned and drove off into the sunset with my mom.
Graham,
so fuck you, Danny.
I was told you were asked to leave due to irregularities in your expenses claim.
Absolutely.
What were you doing? But
I got too many bags of M&Ms.
Yeah, you did. But come here, it is. It's a mad out gig, and you know, there's loads of really exciting things coming up, and I'm just really fucking lucky that I get to do it as my job.
Yeah, deadly. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's gas because I can sense kind of the pride coming out of you and kind of the excitement coming out of you for this stuff that you're almost remembering on the spot. And of this coming, but
I know I forget about all this because
10 minutes ago you were talking about your imposter syndrome, but now I can see you being like, I'm a fucking boss. Look at this. And I love it. You should be, because as you said, you worked your arse off for it. So fucking do it, like, you know, be proud of it.
And come here, it's like I had one big massive blow yesterday, which was a no, and one massive blow today, which is a no. But like onwards and upwards, it's life. Whatever reason they weren't meant for me. Maybe I don't know. There's always a reason. Do you know what I mean? I still sometimes think, it depends. Like I'm saying that now. You could ask me this tomorrow and go, fuck that. Like reason. What's the reason? But there is a reason for everything. You know, right place, right time. You know, I wouldn't have been able to do that because I wouldn't have been able to do these two things. Or, you know, like, yeah, I'm a strong believer that, you know, I've done something, I've created something, and I'm capable to create my thing.
Yeah. And do you look up to any actors or actresses, Jade?
Do you know who probably would be one of my favourite? Kate Blanchett. I'm mad about her.
Oh,
deadly.
Yeah.
I think she's absolutely fantastic. She would probably be one of my favourite actors. I mean, there's so many. I'd have you here all night. But older women, I think she's amazing. Viola Davis, absolutely superb.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love her. Yeah, there's loads of really great Irish actors.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That are now.
Kieran Hines is unbelievable.
He's great, isn't he? Like Claire Dunn, who's just like this ball of energy, who's just creates her own stuff.
I watched herself last week, Claire Dunn and herself.
It's phenomenal.
Like I said it to me mum, ever since, unfortunately, my grandparents died back to back within 6 months of each other last year. And ever since that, I kind of have no threshold to emotion. I kind of just, like, I'd be watching anything and I'd tear up. Like,
that's
watching
okay.
Absolutely. I'm watching herself. I was an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
And Ian Lloyd Anderson, I wanted to fucking batter him. And that was his job.
You know what? He's a lovely, lovely man.
Yeah.
I just working with him. Me and him are partners in a series, and he's just such a lovely, soft guy.
Deadly. I know his friend Mikey Sheehan very well. Do you know Mikey?
I know that name. Yeah.
Mikey's in Fair City. Michael Sheehan. So I'd keep in touch with Michael. But I wanted to batter him on her. I wanted to batter him on herself.
Yeah, I know. He plays a good bollocks, like, doesn't he?
Yeah. That's what I said. I tweeted him saying, I wanted to fucking kill you, man.
Yeah. And he's such a lovely, lovely man.
Yeah.
Who loves his wife and children. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's so devoted and loves his work and a really good actor.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If somebody wants to punch the head off you for doing a role like that, you've done your job.
You've done your job, exactly.
You've done your job. But it is, like, it's all exciting. I mean, it's nice as well. I come back to years ago, didn't have diversity on our screens over here, and it's banging to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
I as well, Jed, I'm the I seem to be, for a couple of production companies, I seem to be the token wheelchair guy that they reach out to every couple of years for some ads.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. That's great if you want to do it, but at the same time, I questioned, like, last year when work started to pick up, I sat down and was like, right, hold on, am I only busy now because of how I look? Because we need to be seen to tick boxes, and am I this token at the moment? And I got really upset about it. And my ma was like, Jade, look, you were busy anyway.
Yeah,
Stop having this like thing. And she said, yeah, but they do want more diverse people on the screens. But wow, great for you.
It's proper order.
You were
Yeah,
on the,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
absolutely.
No, I don't want to say on the rise, but you were in people's vision if you were auditioning for things anyway. So
that's it. It definitely sounds like you've plenty to get excited about, Jade, and I think book aside, all the acting stuff sounds great. It's not that I'm gonna make you cringe now, but I think it's a name that people will be remembering for quite a while. It's Jade Jordan. So
I've really enjoyed this interview. You're absolutely infectious.
We've kept you for way longer than we deserve.
What time is it? Come here, lads. I'd have you here all night. She has a cup of tea there. I would, in fairness.
Remember when you win your best lead awards, that you remember us now, and we'll be your first exclusive interview post collecting your award. Have to talk to the boys and what's the story. Fuck Brian Turbiddy, RTE.
That's it. Live from the Oscars 2025. I can't wait.
Oh my God! Stop giving me a fucking big head.
But Jay, thanks a mil, and say thanks as well to Kathleen and Dominique as well, because the book and the story, amazing stuff. Best of luck with the book awards. Hopefully you get what you deserve there as well, because it's a brilliant story, and the fact that you're saying potentially there might be a little bit more coming down the road from it as well, be even better. The book again is Nanny, Ma and Me, an Irish story of family, race and home. It's available easons, it's available online. Give it a look and give Jade a follow on social media and whatnot. It's you won't regret it, lads. You won't regret it.
Deli Jade, continued success, okay?
Thank you.
Oh, Mero, it felt good to be talking to a guest, and a guest like Jade was the perfect way to come back on this podcast.
Jade was a tonic.
Indeed, yeah. And do you know what's mad, right? We got around to talk about the book, and I don't think we really talked enough about the book. Typical of us, we just went in tangents and we just talked about, it was all, but I mean, what I'd say is, right, if you're not going to read the book yourself, buy it for a parent or buy it for an aunt or a granny, because I'm telling you, lads, they will love it. The stories and the way this is told, I guarantee you that they will read it through a different set of eyes than you or I will read it. And it's because it's across 3 generations, and the way that Jay, Kathleen and Dominique tell this and the way it's done. So it starts with Jade telling kind of a little bit around the George Floyd stuff like we talked about. Then it goes into her granny telling her bit of the story. Then it's Jade's ma telling a bit of the story, and it goes back to Jade. But lads, I swear to you, you'll enjoy it. There's bits you'll laugh at, there's bits you'll get angry at, there's bits you'll get emotional at. And then, if you give it to a relative who's older than you, they'll read it and they'll get the same brilliant emotions over that you will, but they'll see things a little bit differently because they'll have grown up. And it's just, it's a fucking great book. It's a great idea. And honestly, I wish her the best of success with everything. Absolutely brilliant.
Couldn't agree more.
I went a tangent there to describe my feelings for it, but yeah.
Very good. Couldn't agree more. And I wish her every success in the very tough industry that is acting.
Indeed, yeah. But remember the name. I'm telling you, that's
the name.
That's the name.
Jade,
I hear more of.
Jade Jordan. Okay, Dan. I think we'll leave it there.
I think so. I think we've done well, yeah. And remember, lads, for the next couple of weeks, you can get Gogglebox Ireland on the Virgin Media Player. And, if you beat Mero to finish in the series, you win a prize.
And just a reminder, I don't think this happened the last time we recorded, but Shamrock Rovers are champions of Ireland for the 19th time. Okay? Until next week.
That's getting edited out.
Until next time.
Well, hang on. There's 250 episodes that preceded this wonderful audio presentation that we have to plug and tell people that they can go back and listen to it for free on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Stitcher, Podbean, Podcast Addict, Podcast Republic, anywhere and everywhere you can get a podcast. Mero, what do you type in to get it?
You type in on any podcast provider, search WTS Pod. You can also go to WTSpod.com and you can follow us on Twitter at WTS Pod. He's at Danjo Murray on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Merrigan Mania on Instagram and Twitter. And Shamrock Rovers are 19 times champions of Ireland. Until next time, clear eyes.
Full hearts.
Can't lose. Too sweet.